PharmaVentures, experts in deals and alliances.
Hello and welcome to another edition of PharmaVentures Insights. In this episode, we are exploring how to avoid the mistakes made in manufacturing divestment by pharmaceutical companies and how to accelerate the process to achieve a successful outcome. I'll be asking leading experts about the common mistakes companies make while divesting their manufacturing operations and how others have been successful. What are the important tips we can share for others wishing to divest their manufacturing operations? Well, later we'll look at the buy side, but first of all, let's address the sell side of divestment. Mark Bamforth is founder and CEO of Arranta Bio and has much experience of selling and buying pharma manufacturing operations. Mark, what is your experience of the divestment process from a sell side perspective?
So my experience of the divestment process is that it's a very intense period during which a lot of information has to be provided, typically to a larger group of potential buyers, and then that gets narrowed down to a smaller group. So the challenge with that is that you want to continue to manage the existing business and keep it going, whilst at the same time running this process. So typically a very small team is involved from the seller initially, and then as the process matures, the buyer requires to meet more of the leadership team, and so the number of people involved gets expanded. And of course, typically this has been conducted under confidentiality, and you don't want the organization to be upset or distracted by it. And so it often becomes a pretty challenging exercise.
You were involved in the sale of Centocor's biologics facility in the US. That was a successful and positive experience. Why?
The positives in the case of Centocor, which is a J&J company, selling that site, was that the site was underutilized. However, it was still one of the sites manufacturing Remicade, which at that point was the number 2 product in the world. There was competition potentially in the horizon in the form of biosimilars, and it was also the site of the original launch of another product called Stelara. So whilst the site was underutilized, Centocor wanted to see an ongoing supply of those products for a number of years for continuity. And so this was really a great marriage where they were able to transfer the site but continue to get supply. And what they were also very focused on was the long-term continuity for the employees. So part of their credo was really about the role they play in the community, the role they play with their employees, as well, of course, as patients and shareholders. But that focus on the well-being of the employees really set things up for a great collaboration. And we were able to demonstrate to them that they could trust us with the site and that we could be a reliable supplier. And once we'd done that for a period of time, then they were more comfortable taking a more hands-off approach to the partnership.
Could you share your thoughts on the use of advisors to support you in those activities?
Yeah, use of advisors is critical.
Mark, thank you for your valuable contribution. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Now, when it comes to divestment, there is, of course, the buy side. So what is the perspective there? Joining me is Stéphane Lepeu, Managing Director from DELPHARM. What do you look for when buying a manufacturing site?
In fact, we are looking at, I would say, mainly 3 things. The first one is the asset. Is it a well-maintained asset? Does it fit to our network? And do we have an interest to buy this asset regarding our DELPHARM capacities and capabilities? The second one, very important, is the team. We need to have a fit, and we need to believe that the team we have, and I would say site leadership team, obviously, would fit in the DELPHARM spirit. And we know that those people will be, I would say, motivated to go along with us. And the third one is obviously the customer that is selling us the plant. we need to have a confidence that in the long term we will have some, I would say, a contract. We always look at having a contract for normally, I would say, minimum 5 years. And we need to have someone we can trust in the long term regarding this contract.
Have you ever identified any warning signs that things may not go so well?
A warning sign is clear, is that one big pharma telling us that within 3, 4, 5 years he want to take all the business away is for us not even a deal, but an interest breaker. We are usually not interested in buying an, let's say, empty plant or a future empty plant because we know that in order to, I would say, insert the plant in our network, we need to have time. And even if the customer is going away in the long term, we need time to get, I would say, additional customer. And we know that in 3 to 5 years, this is not possible.
One of the most experienced proponents in this field is PharmaVentures. Their M&A team has successfully advised on the strategic direction of over 40 manufacturing sites globally over the last 20 years. And one of the leading experts helping companies to divest is Dr. Jansen Jacob. In practical terms, how does PharmaVentures go about the divestment process on behalf of clients?
We try to understand our clients' needs in detail, and we often start an exercise called Evaluation and Positioning Report, which helps us to understand the value of that asset in the marketplace. And often this might bring out issues that the client may not have considered and which would impact their balance sheet, for example. Maybe there is a tax impact of that for that divestment. Our clients usually find that such an independent assessment of their asset is a critical point in their decision making to continue with the divestment.
And what's your general advice for a company planning divestment?
Now, there may be some companies who may have never done a transaction before and they need additional advice to help them run a smooth process. There may be others who've got a team with expertise, but they may not have the necessary bandwidth required to support the transaction. And this is where advisors with long-standing records such as ourselves will help in supporting a smooth and efficient transaction process. We know all of the key players operating here, and these include CDMO players, pharma companies, private equity firms looking to invest in healthcare operations. And being in constant contact with these players, we know what they are looking for, and we know what the market appetite for such assets are.
I want to thank the panel here today for taking part in this discussion. If you have any questions about divesting manufacturing operations, please contact PharmaVentures on the link below.
PharmaVentures, experts in deals and alliances.